Change doesn't need to be big and scary in order to have an impact on our lives. Over the last few months, I've made 7 little life changes. Changes that are really small, almost insignificant in nature, but have had a fairly decent impact on my day-to-day life. These are changes that have helped decrease my stress, made life a little bit more bearable, and generally just made things easier and more productive. I wanted to share these changes with you in today's video. The first change I want to talk about is the fact that Lucas and I got rid of our top sheet on our bed. And this was a change that I just woke up one morning and I was just annoyed beyond belief with having to make the bed. So we got rid of the top sheet, purchased a few more duvet covers, and that's what we use. My second little life change is one that kind of applies to your work-life balance. And as someone who has struggled and is still struggling with trying to find the perfect balance between work and life, I've discovered that having out-of-office replies on the days that I'm not at work beneficial. I work an odd schedule. I don't have set hours and I don't have set days. When we think of out-of-office replies, we generally think of, I'm going on vacation, don't bother me. I've been trying to view my days off as like mini vacations. So that means that I set out-of-office replies, letting people know that I'm not at work and please don't expect a response from me until I return. I used to have this pent-up anxiety about the fact that if I wasn't at work on a Wednesday and the rest of the world was, I needed to be plugged in, which means I needed to be checking emails, replying to emails, and being an active presence, but it was my day off. And that was starting to really negatively impact my mental health. So using the out-of-office replies sort of gives me that peace of mind that if someone emails me on a Wednesday, they are well aware that they might not get a response until Friday. My third life change is one that I've adopted recently, and I don't understand why it took me so long to utilize it. I grew up in a house where Saturday mornings were grocery shopping and meal planning. I remember sitting at the kitchen table eating my breakfast, and my mom and my dad would be meal planning for the week ahead. They would just plan out what they wanted to have for dinner each night for the week. And it was a pretty loose plan. I mean, life happens, things get changed around, moved, but having a meal plan and meal planning means that you don't have to make that decision when you come home. So Lucas and I have started to try to do this, to do a bit of a basic meal plan during the week. Because we work so, like my schedule differs so intensely, it's much easier to know, okay, we don't have to text about it. We come home, we both look at the fridge, we know what's going on, and we can just make dinner. This little life change was one that I had read about and then had watched a video about in order to be more productive. And I just started to adapt it to kind of every aspect of my life. And that's the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule is this idea that if something will take you 2 minutes or less to do it then and there. So if that laundry is going to take 2 minutes or less to fold, just do it now. This helps to avoid a bunch of little annoying to-dos piling up and that you all have to just tackle one after the other. If you do the small things right away, it means that they're taken care of. You don't have to worry about them. You actually have more time to focus on larger items or the things you actually want to do. I grew up as a reader. Once I actually learned how to read, I became an avid reader, and to the point where my parents were worried that I had an addiction to books. And growing up, I would always read fiction books. I didn't like to read the nonfiction. I was never interested in that. However, in today's world, I read everything from wellness journals to BuzzFeed articles. But what happens is that being so involved in the real world can sometimes cause me to feel really depressed, especially because sometimes our world isn't that great. And sometimes the information we're reading is really depressing and sad and upsetting. I've been trying to read more fiction, trying to get back to that younger version of myself who would constantly have 1 or 2 novels on the go. And I've personally been drawn to fantasy novels, mostly because it's just so different from the world that I live in. It allows me that escape, that moment of peace and quiet, and to focus on something else. There is a lot of research and a lot of benefits to drinking more water. Apparently it is very good for our health, mentally and physically. I just suck at drinking water. I do. I mean, I can go a whole day without a glass of water, and apparently that's not great. And I've noticed that on the days where I do drink quite a bit of water, I tend to feel more energized. My skin looks better. I don't have big puffs under my eyes. One of these changes that I've done is carrying a water bottle with me wherever I go. And I always make sure that my water bottle is full. If I have my water bottle with me, I'm more likely to reach for it to have a sip of water. Whereas if I don't have it, I tend to just forget that I need water. It's a bit weird until I'm very parched and really thirsty. I'm just trying to be a lot more conscientious of my water intake, and therefore keeping a water bottle with me at all times has been a really big help. My final little life change is one that I have talked about before in my video all about my cell phone addiction. And this change is to charge your phone across the room or in a different room altogether. I have found it extremely beneficial to have my phone not on my bedside table at night. In the past, if I had my phone and I woke up and checked the time, I would then check Instagram, check Facebook, check emails even. Like, who does that? Or, you know, it became a really vicious cycle. And I noticed that when I didn't have my phone beside me at night, I actually slept a lot better. Now I physically have to like get out of bed in order to get my phone. And that means I spend less time curled up under the sheets and more time being productive. Making little life changes can be just as impactful as making a large one, and can be a lot less like intense and scary than making a really big change. You don't need to move houses in order to change your life. Sometimes all you need to do is to drink more water. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what little changes you've made in your life and their impact on you down in the comments below. And I will see you again very soon. Bye.